ontogeny. Ontogeny.
All right, let's see if that did it. Check on chat right here. Excellent. How's the volume level? We doing okay? Hey, thanks, Claire. It's working? Beautiful. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to St. George, Utah. Just got in a little while ago, and even though it's after 5 p.m. local time, we're continuing the excavation here. The St. George Dinosaur Discovery Site Museum, once again, is across the street over there, but here we are at the emergency fossil quarry here, digging up dinosaurs, ancient fishes, all kinds of stuff. We'll be talking about that. Yeah, this site, unfortunately, is slated to be bulldozed, and the city is going to turn it into an electrical substation. They say work on that could start as soon as April 30th. I guess that's our last day in the quarry here. So we're trying to excavate as many fossils as we can. We're trying to salvage whatever we can possibly get in the meantime. And, well, I'm trying to raise awareness about this, drum up support, do whatever I can do to help out here. Given that, you know, I gathered a bit of an audience here on Twitch, I'm doing whatever I can to assist. And you wonderful folks in the chat have contributed so much here. We even have a chatter right here in the quarry right now. I'll see if I can introduce him to you later. But yeah, so good to have everybody here. Holy cow. Let me turn auto rotate off on here. But yeah, thank you, Claire, for everything you do. Holy moly. Yeah, welcome everybody. Got the satellite dish set up. Solar panel is running. Cross your fingers that the signal holds. Let's go take a look around and we'll check in with Andrew Milner, the curator here. Well, welcome everybody. Oh, and shoot, Claire, would you mind switching our category to IRL? I think it's still in science and technology right now. I'd really appreciate that if you don't mind, Claire. Thank you. Yeah, let's go take a look around and we'll check in with Andrew. Again, I just got here a little while ago. So I don't have my proper field garb on yet or anything. Luckily, it's not too hot. It gets ridiculously hot here in St. George during the summer. It feels like it's maybe high 70s right now, so feeling pretty lucky on that front. Could be a lot worse. All right, and tour hype, yes indeed, Kaz the Dapper Lass. Oh, and where are my manners? If anybody's here for the very first time, welcome to Paleontologizing. My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist. I'm here on Twitch trying to do some good old-fashioned science outreach. Given that Twitch is a platform where people can type into the chat and I can respond in real time, it allows for a real kind of, I think, substantive science communication. We can have conversations about stuff live. You can ask questions. We can have kind of a heart-to-heart about important stuff like extinction and evolution and the history of life on our incredible planet Earth. And firsthand what it's like to excavate fossils, to collect data you can get a sense for all the work that goes into that and who are the people who do it. So, yeah. Welcome to Paleontology. Oh, and another thing, too, new innovation here. I've got these visual aids that I was putting together. Last time I did this site and why it's important and trying to get people to imagine what a semi-noded fish would look like, or, you know, what these different dinosaurs leaving these fossil footprints here would look like, stuff like that. Imagine no longer I actually have a collection of laminated sheets that I put together. So this hopefully will come in handy, especially if we get a big raid, and I can show people rather than just telling. So, yeah, we'll see what Andrew thinks of those too. A lot of the art in there is actually direct from the book about this fossil site. So, I think he'll like it. I'll probably leave it with him here when I take off in a few days and stuff like that. But, yeah. Let's see. We'll see if we can check in with Andrew. Quick spin around the quarry so far. It looks a lot when I was here a few weeks ago. We've got Uncle Don's shade tarps up and running, keeping everything cool for everybody, which is really important.
Oh, really? Now you got to
And I heard that the local hardware store, Ace Hardware across the street, actually doing some conduit for holding up the shade tarps. So shout out to what is that? Dinosaur Shopping Center? It's right across the street. It's next to the museum. Yeah. So you can see just how much rock has moved since we were here last. It's really impressive. We've got a pretty steep quarry wall right here. I feel like that was the extent of it, you know. Right there, it didn't used to be that steep either. That continued all along here. And so, yeah, pretty impressive, the amount of work that's taken. Yeah, cool stuff. Making a ton of progress, absolutely, Lenina. Unfortunately, it still looks like, I don't know, as far as we've been told, we'll have to stop work here on the 30th. So that's, what, 2 weeks away? Yeah, maybe that could still change. I don't know. But for right now, it looks like that's our drop dead date is trading. Do you want to say hi?
Hi, chat.
Yeah. Just had a nice chat for a while. Not a Twitch chat. Fun. Cool guy. He came here from. I don't want to dox you. But
It's close by.
close by. Yeah. Thanks. Hey, appreciate it. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, Neolithic is here, and I'm touched that people from the community are coming here to help out. It's pretty awesome. And he found a theropod tooth the other day, right?
Theropod tooth.
So one of the most charismatic bits of thing that we have so far here. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yes, it is very awesome. On my first day,
Yeah.
I found a fish skull, and then semi-close to it was a theropod.
Uh-huh.
And then a day ago, I found a fish that's either two fish together,
Uh-huh.
or it's kind of twisted around a little bit.
Nice.
Kind of distorted.
Uh-huh.
And then now, in a couple bones here where we
Ooh.
have a
Let me
little
take a
jaw on it. And then we've got something here and something here.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if this is something, but I noticed all these scales are here.
Nice.
So this could just be one, big exploded fish where it just kind of pieced out.
Sure. Wow. Awesome. Clean surface that you've got going over
Yes.
here too. This is
looks
a lot better than
I've taken a lot of knowledge from everybody,
Yeah,
especially you. So I kind of just
Yeah.
you learn
That's
things.
what
And it's just a mess.
It's the mantra that everybody always says, and they always think that it's original to their crew too. It's a clean quarry, big quarry.
Yeah. Yeah.
How many? Yeah.
I mean, you got to though.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks for letting us a little bit.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Members of the Paleo. God, that warms my heart. This is, this is the power of live streaming. Pretty cool. All right, taking down a shade tarp over here.
What's that? I don't think it's worth the trouble.
Okay, now it's got some thickness. Usual.
And
Sure.
let's see. Anywho, didn't really have much of a plan for today's stream, so appreciate everybody tuning in. It looks like we might be working here until about sundown, something like that, for as long as we can. People, and yeah, I think some folks are getting ready to head home. But Andrew and I are going to hang out here for a while, and then yeah, I'm going to set up a tent. Yeah. Get a peek at the quarry at least today? Absolutely, Claire. Yeah, we'll see how long this stream is. I don't quite have a plan for this. And Melt with Clarity says there's some prints dug out just outside the quarry if you want to take a peek. Yeah, that's a great idea. We'll take a look at some of those. I remember when I was here a few weeks ago, we would take the footprints and pile them up over here. Looks like a lot of them are still there. This might be a good opportunity to break out one of those visual aids, too. So most of these are going to be growliter tracks. I don't know if we have any Ubrontes from here yet. But, oh, there's one right there. Yeah, tridactyl dinosaur footprint. 3 toes. That's really what makes that museum over there so special. That's built, again, who might be new here. This is repetition for a lot of folks, but bear with me. The St. George Dinosaur Discovery Site Museum built over a set of ichnofossils, the footprints of dinosaurs and ancient crocodile-like animals, traces left by fishes and plants and stuff. It's kind of an incredible record of what life was like here on the spot 200 million years ago. At this crucial time in Earth history, a mass extinction had just occurred, a bunch of different species had been wiped out. This is the mass for the dinosaurs to rule the Earth for the next 150 million? 140 million, whatever. From 2 million until... So yeah, anyway, really, really special site. We'll be tomorrow when things are a bit better organized, on my part at least. I want to show you this. Right there, we've got the 2 major dinosaur ichnotaxa we have at the site. Growlitor and Ubrontes. And most of what we're going to be seeing here is probably Growlitor. Kind of thinner digits on it. And right there you're seeing like the outline of the foot, and then you're seeing the actual phalanges inside and the unguals, so like the toe bones. That's what those gray things are in the middle. So, yeah, Ubrontes we think is a largish meat-eating dinosaur, maybe kind of similar to like that. Like that. Growlitor might be a coelophysoid, might be something kind of like Coelophysis or Megapnosaurus. But yeah, I think a bunch of these prints are the same ones that were here a couple weeks ago when I was here. There's one right there. Heel, toe, toe, toe. Yeah. We'll get a better look. But, yeah. And there you go, Charlie's Dragon. And young Ubrontes. That is an idea. It's been suggested that, that Growlitor is just like a It has been suggested, but I don't think that's the consensus. Be an interesting hypothesis to test. And we can talk to Andrew about that too. But, yeah. Anyway. Maybe not with the way the foot is so different. It could be, Claire. Yeah, they change a lot ontogenetically. So who knows? I'm so glad we were able to do a little impromptu stream today. After I rolled in, this is nice, you know. All right, let's go see if we can corner Andrew for a second. Some of the supplies that members of the community have donated via the Amazon wish list are here. We've got some of those gypsonas over there, which are all important for preserving some of these fossils. So the medical bandages in those white. We've got a bunch of the rock hammers and stuff over there that people have donated. Take a look at a lot of this stuff in detail later too. Just trying to give you a quick overview right now. And I didn't know that. Neverwinter, the root word of Growliter refers to herons and storks. Interesting. That would make sense. Let's see. Oh, look at that.
Oh, the red hawk.
Wow. Tail?
It's waiting for one of us to die from heat stroke.
Gonna pick our bones clean.
Might be me.
Very cool. Somebody clipped that. I don't know how big it looked on camera. It looked pretty big to me. This camera doesn't have a zoom or anything, so sometimes it's awful small. Yeah. It was visible? Excellent. Yeah. A dinosaur flew over the dig site? That's a good omen, you know? I'll say. Anyhow, take a look. So, presumably we've got at least one fossil fish inside of this jacket right here. I heard that some of these are 2-for-1s, which is pretty exciting. Yeah. Let's see, let me go check in with Andrew over there. How's it going, Andrew?
Oh, pretty good.
With the boss man.
How you doing?
Your beard's significantly longer than it was last time.
Yeah, my field beard. Hopefully the Canadians keep blowing it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The Habs not doing so well?
No, they've got to win their next game or Columbus has to lose their next game.
Okay.
We need Columbus to lose tomorrow night.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, let's cross our fingers both happen.
Yeah. Well, probably not those Columbus fans out there.
Sorry, Columbus fans.
Anyway, we're taking down all of the shade tarps, moving all the gear away, and we're going to do a deep clean on the site tonight. And tomorrow morning, first thing, we're going to do photogrammetry of the entire
Oh,
site.
really?
Yeah. So
very
we're
nice.
gonna have a look at the quarry.
Yeah.
And then that far end, we're going to start jackhammering the upper layer and moving it aside because,
Right.
of course, April 30th, where you might be closing down, and we've been asked to move out by the end of the 30th. So we'll see what happens.
Let's hope. I mean, yeah.
There's still time.
There's still time.
Don't, of course, I mentioned there's a possibility that it might not happen. We'll see. Oh, it's getting loud.
Yeah. Is that the new jackhammer?
No, Dustin
that's
he's pulled
that's
out
the generator.
And he's going
Yeah.
to start with a leaf blower, cleaning up the site.
Nice. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
You need like flat shovels and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So people in the chat might be wondering, like, what do you mean clean up a dig site. Like, isn't it all dirt? But it's moving the rubble away so we can actually get to the surface of the rock and we can see what's going on there, especially if we're going to photogram it.
Looking at that jacket there.
Yeah, yeah.
A jacket within a jacket.
Is that a jacket within a jacket? Oh, right there on top. There's a gypsum on top of it. Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of Hemicolepterus, which is a...
Oh.
Okay, I just got to help Jeff real fast.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. I'm not sure if they're going to dismantle the conduit or just going to move it. I guess they're just moving it. Nice. Let's take a look at that real quick. The jacket within a jacket there. Here, I'll go around so I'm not... So this is the under after it's flipped, and some little guy. Give me a second, let me see if I can do something about this. Yeah, I'm also there, so sometimes as I walk around it might, we're losing line of sight to it. And so that might be one of the reasons. There's a zillion different reasons why the frames could be dropping. But yeah. Take a look at that and see if our signal improves as we walk over here. Thanks, Justin. There's some fieldwork ASMR right here. It's a serious generator. Nice. Was that off Amazon? I don't think so, Jody Fish, but I'm not sure. And Suave Oreo, thank you for the 6 months of support. I really appreciate it. Yeah. 2 days ago, found a whole bunch of fossils. You were here too? How many different paleontologizing community members have we had here? That's really awesome. Shoot. Oh, not there. Oh, okay. I was gonna say. Huh.
It was jacket the other night.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
Nice.
Yeah. And we have permission from the city to camp here.
Excellent.
Yeah.
We got a note to be here.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. Nice.
So I guess, how long are you doing your podcast for today?
As long as
Life
makes sense, I guess. Yeah. I mean, I could wrap it up pretty soon. I wasn't actually expecting to stream today, so this is kind of a bonus one right now.
Okay.
But yeah, if you want me to
No, you can keep going.
Okay. Yeah.
If you're still going later, then I can. Then we're kind of all taking a break.
Yeah.
Which I'm not sure if that will happen. But I can maybe fill you in on what we've been digging out.
That'd be great. Yeah. 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 You want to do that in a little bit, maybe? Cool. Yeah.
Probably do some more work.
Yeah. Nice. I'm gonna get some more water before I forget. And yeah, I might do some fiddling around with the cables too. There we go. Let's see. Line of sight certainly seems to be helping. Yeah, and it's beautiful. It really is. And be careful not to walk directly in front of the satellite dish. Don't want to interrupt the signal. They'll get drops more when you're on the move. I don't think it's a cable thing, just because sometimes if the cable gets jostled, the stream stops. Like, we'll lose the feed until I restart it. So I think it's probably just a line of sight thing going to the Wi-Fi radio. All right. Did I tell you, Chad, about my last night here before I left last time? Where it was just me and Andrew in camp, and we'd gathered water and firewood and everything else, and we were getting ready to make a fire in camp, and we had to get. Turns out I didn't have any matches. He didn't have any match, anything like that. So I had to use a flint and some steel and some Vinax, some fossil glue in order to start a fire. It was something. I did, fun story. Okay, yeah. I got waterproof matches this time, so we won't have to do that again, which is nice. Fingers crossed I didn't forget anything else super important. But yeah, it's gonna be nice. Sleeping in a tent again. Sometimes I kind of miss that when I'm back home. Sometimes, a nice comfortable bed. Nice. Sometimes, there you go, Lydia. Yeah. To avoid saying words. There you go. Comfy bed is not as adventurous. Very true, Casey Snowart. Very true. Yeah. Although I can't complain about the infrastructure when I'm out in the field. I usually bring a cot and like a little thermarest mattress, so it's very posh compared to my first few summers in the field, where it's just a really thin sleeping bag or a sheet on the ground. This is luxury by comparison, Yeah. And did they push the date for the building back? No, they moved it forward, Halle Berry. April 3rd. That's what we've been told so far. That could still change. But that's the information that we have from the city right now. Yeah. Hoping that changes. You and me both, Casey. You and me both. Anyway, let's go take a look around again down there and hope the signal doesn't drop too badly. I think a better spot for the satellite dish might be up there next time. so we don't get interference from this mound right here. This rock is just too tempting to set the dish on though. Nice and stable. It's even at the right angle and everything. I didn't have to adjust this at all. Just plopped it down and we're good to go. So I'll find a different spot for it tomorrow and hopefully that'll help with the signal issues. We'll see. I can't move it right now or we'll obviously lose the signal. Yeah. And is there an address to write to the City Planning Commission? I don't know, Jody Fish. Some of the people who work here at the museum are employees of the city. Or they, yeah. So we're really hesitant to complain too much. The city's also helped support us by bringing those dump trucks and doing various other things. So yeah, we're in an interesting spot here, politically. I'll put it that way. Yeah. Move the rock too. There you go, rush wing. There's an idea. And happen to know what is needed most? We can ask about that Petrodactylus. Yeah, great question. Let me go ask Andrew, and then. Again, cross your fingers the signal holds as I go over here. This is nice. Andrew can just drive his car right up here. All right. For a second with a question.
What's up?
What's our number one need in terms of wish list items right now, if people are thinking about donating?
I don't know what happened with the shipping container, but we don't have the room.
Oh.
Oh yeah, that's still a thing.
So we still need a shipping container. Shoot.
Yeah.
Okay. As for the Amazon wish list, anything you can think of on there that is a little bit.
We still gotta get a generator.
What's that?
Still gotta get a generator.
Generator.
So we do have a loaner generator.
Uh huh.
Eventually, that's going away.
Gotcha.
That is something we could totally use.
Yeah. I think there was trouble with that. I think somebody was trying to order it and it kept
Right.
saying they couldn't ship to the museum or something.
Okay.
So I don't know.
I seem to remember a problem
Yeah.
like that, and the person said that we just donated the money.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so
Fantastic.
I guess we could.
Whoever
just
did
go buy
that,
a
shout out to you.
generator.
Thank you. Yeah.
We could just go buy a generator.
Yeah. Okay.
Another idea. But the shipping container is a big thing, and you
Yeah.
can see this rock pile is not moving very fast.
Yeah.
And we've been finding some super cool fossils in it.
In the rock pile right here.
Yeah, in the debris.
Okay.
So we're kind of doing this systematically now, so you can see all of this debris right here, this newer stuff.
Uh-huh.
That's material that was pulled off the upper fish bed.
Right,
That
okay.
still contains the lower part of the upper bone bed.
Okay,
So
so
we
there
had
could
to-
be dinosaur teeth in there, could be bones potentially,
We
yeah.
found associated coelacanth skulls and stuff like that over
Oh, wow.
there. We found shark remains, including shark spines.
Yeah.
It's not producing as much over here, so we decided to, these guys actually, while I was away,
Mhm.
Lisa Hunter, David, they just said, let's just take it out. And
Yeah.
It was a perfect move. I mean, we can now get this loaded into dump trucks
Uh-huh.
and put it in a specific location.
Right.
And we're going to do the same thing with our the deep.
Okay. Uh-huh.
In such a rush, you can see we're now taking big blocks from this upper surface.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay.
And then we're moving them inside and putting them inside.
So those ones by the blue wheelbarrow there, are those?
That's the upper bunker.
Okay. Uh-huh.
We're attempting to keep them in separate piles
Uh-huh.
so we can process them later.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Well, does that mean that, and maybe we'll speak up a little bit too, because people in chat are saying it's hard to hear over the generator
Yeah.
and the leaf blower.
Sorry,
No, it's okay.
I can start yelling.
If a bunch of this material is being moved to a different site, does that mean that even after work is done here, you could still use volunteers to look through it?
Most likely.
Most likely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, if the substation is not constructed, this would then become a fossil quarry.
Right. Okay.
And we probably get it fenced off
Yeah.
and keep this operation going
Yeah.
for a long time.
So like we were saying, this could go on for years and years potentially.
Yeah,
like especially if that bonus fish in that jacket there indicates that there's fish deeper down in those other layers.
Fish we've discovered there's the arthropod trackways and fish swim trails likely on some of these green beds too. And then you've got a dinosaur track layer.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool seeing all these different levels with all this different kinds of activity. It's really important information. So much information in these rocks. It's fantastic.
Just coming to see what needs inventory. It looks like we got a good little stack of
Nice. Well, there you have it, chat. Let's go take another walk around real quick and take a look at some of these things. But thanks, Andrew.
That's good.
Yeah.
You want me to wrap these up then?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Again, there's so much here. I wish we had more time. You know. Yeah. Oh, we got Ken in the chat. Hello, hello. Yeah. And Sparky Pugwash says, what makes that a great spot for fossils? Oh boy. How long do you have? And Ken says it's when you point the camera away that we can't hear. That makes sense. Yeah. It's a directional mic, like a shotgun mic. And won't the sun set soon, says It's Fluor? Probably another 2 or 3 hours at least. Yeah. It's what, just like 6 o'clock right now? Sun probably sets around, I don't know, 8? We got a while. Yeah. Yeah, we're in like the very westernmost part of the mountain time zone here. So, yeah. Even if it's getting dark out near Denver, Colorado or whatever, it's still gonna be light here for a while. Yeah. Anywho, so what makes this site so special? Here, we can break out a visual aid. Let's do that. Fancy, fancy. There we go. So, could use a bunch of these to explain, I guess. But, yeah, right here we've got an artist representation of a small theropod dinosaur leaving some swim traces here. What this site represents is an ancient lake, what we call ancient Lake Whitmore, from about 200 million years ago, at the very, very beginning of the Jurassic period. This is the beginning of dinosaur dominance on planet Earth. Lake Whitmore, formerly called Lake Dixie, changed the name recently. There we go. Was a Great Lakes size freshwater lake right here in Utah and also into Arizona right there. Maybe a tiny bit in Nevada also. But enormous freshwater lake system where you dinosaurs, lungfishes, coelacanths, semi-anodid fishes, all kinds of invertebrates. We don't have evidence of pterosaurs here yet, but they were definitely all different kinds of critters and kinds of plants too, some of which are going to be new to science that we're finding here at the site. It's all exquisitely well preserved, and not only do we have body fossils, like parts of the bodies of these organisms, bones of dinosaurs, teeth of dinosaurs, the bodies of fishes and scales and, you know, invertebrates and plants and stuff. Not only the parts of the actual organisms, but also traces from them too. So footprints, scour marks, little nests that fish were building here in the lake, all kinds of stuff. So that combination of body fossils and trace fossils is really, really special. It's not too common that you find those together, and it gives you a more complete picture of what this ecosystem was like. And again, that's really important because this is just after a mass extinction event. I've got another visual aid for that too, don't I? Yeah, here we go. So just from a kind of practical standpoint, you know, sometimes people ask, you know, sure, this stuff might sound interesting, but what positive benefit is there for humanity or whatever? Well, here you go, cynics. There are times in Earth history where you get these huge spikes in extinctions. So a ton of species dying out. And there's a cause for each and every one of these. Our job is to figure out what are those causes. What causes more than 50% of species on Earth to go extinct at any given time? This right here, the Triassic-Jurassic boundary, right there, and a Triassic 200 million years ago, about 80% of species went extinct, according to this graphic here. In order to figure out what caused that extinction, who are the victims of it, who are the survivors, why, you gotta study rocks like these. This is from just after that extinction event, what we call like a recovery fauna. And so if we want to figure out who survived that, look at these rocks. If we as human beings did our own extinction in the future, it pays to know why different species have gone extinct in the past, what causes mass extinction events. This is stuff of existential importance, you know? So I hope you're sold on that idea. I hope you're persuaded. Yeah. Hackstock 420 says, can you explain the Cambrian? You don't have to shout. I don't work on Cambrian stuff. That's about 500 million years old, so that's like solid 250 million years before the dinosaurs evolved. But the Cambrian explosion refers to this seemingly sudden proliferation of all different kinds of animals, basically. Most of them invertebrates, but some of them like the ancestors of the vertebrates, ancestral core dates, things like Picaya and stuff like that. Anyway, the Cambrian explosion, it's been a mystery for a long time. Why do all these creatures show up in the fossil record seemingly in the blink of an eye? There have been different hypotheses that, well, maybe it's because they're starting to evolve hard parts, and so it's much easier to fossilize them. And if they all kind of do this at roughly the same time, it'll give the illusion of, oh, you have all these species blinking into existence, like all these different groups arising, when it could just be that they're easier to fossilize at that moment, because they're starting to develop hard parts. There's another idea that maybe the evolution of eyeballs, not eyeballs, but eyes, allowed creatures to their environments in different ways, and it's kind of, caused evolution in overdrive. That's an idea. There's a bunch of different ideas about this, but from what I understand as somebody who doesn't work in the Cambrian, not a specialist in that area, I think more fossils have been found around the world that show that it really wasn't a super sudden event. Given that we only had this kind of small keyhole to look through before, places like the Burgess Shale up in Canada, you know, that kind of gave the illusion that this was a sudden explosion, proliferation of different animals, and that it might be much more gradual than that. It might not be much of an explosion at all. But again, I work on dinosaurs. This is outside of my wheelhouse. So, you know, Andrew might even have some opinions on that because he's worked in the Burgess Shale, and he surely knows that stuff a lot better than I do. So maybe we'll talk to him about that later. Anywho, I hope that makes sense. Hackstock says thank you. You bet. Yeah. Anyway, that's about 300 million years before these rocks. So this stuff is comparatively recent compared to that, you know? Yeah. And Salty Paints says, what percentage of the world has fossils in it? Huge percentage. If you've got sedimentary rocks, you stand a really good chance at finding fossils. Sometimes they're really small. Think about like the cliffs of Dover in England. Those are literally made of fossils. Like the tiny calcareous shells of oceanic microorganisms. That's what forms those those cliffs. They are literally made of fossils. Here in St. George, you can see we've got houses right over there. There's a middle school right there. There's a major road. There's businesses. There's a grocery store. There's a Taco Bell over there too. We're in the middle of St. George, Utah right now, and there's fossils everywhere. So if you've got sedimentary rocks that were laid down from ancient sediments that could bury organisms and preserve them as fossils, then you're gonna have fossils, you know? Does that make sense? So yeah, fossils are less rare than you might expect.
I see that. That's pretty cool what you got there.
Oh yeah. So I put together some visual aids because I prefer to show rather than tell whenever I can. So I try to pick some things that would be pertinent to our work here this week.
Oh, this is sick. What the heck? Oh, this is cool.
Yeah. So that's supposed to be the Ubrontes track maker, I guess. Yeah. Oh. Later, I've got a 3D printed lungfish in my
ontogeny.
that sucker's like
found a tooth of one of these guys.
That's it. Yeah.
Very exciting. Wow.
Yeah. So just kind of a visual who's who of. I figure we'll be getting a lot of use out of this with how common these guys are. Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah. How many in the last week do you think? If you had to take a while.
Like fully articulated or just?
Let's keep it to fully articulated. Just
at least in the last 4 days, at least 4
articulated semi-noded fish. Nice.
Yeah, these guys were abundant, that's for sure.
Yeah. Probably what's bringing the dinosaurs here. Like we were talking about. Yeah.
Finding the rest of that, like burr or the teeth, we can finally figure out.
Yeah, because it's not going to be Dilophosaurus.
Absolutely not, but it's going to be something similar.
Yeah. Dilophosaurus is about 10 million years younger than the stuff that we have here. Dilophosaurus, I think, is about 190. These rocks are about 200 million years old, so it's a lot that can happen in 10 million years. A lot of evolution, especially with dinosaurs. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
No, that's a neat little visual you got.
Yeah, I just put it together the other day.
Nice.
Yeah, I've got a laminator at home, so figured it's better than just trying to explain to people like, a semi-noded fish. Picture a carp with also having something like this.
What we believe their ancestors are gar. And they almost look nothing alike. I'm gonna be honest.
But they've got those same like ganoid scales.
Yeah.
It's
that same kind of armor.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Good stuff.
It was about 4, not 4 million. About 4 articulated semi-nodeds, but they're not thousands, hundreds, I'll say, of scales that they found in the past week, guys. Because when they die, their scales would fall off, just get scattered around all over the place. So scales everywhere from these critters. One of them would have probably well over 100 scales. Hope that's not an undercount. But yeah. Anywho. And Zool, I hope that happens too. I hope things change. I hope they're able to move the substation, but right now the information that we have is that they're gonna, roll the bulldozers in around April 30th or so. April 30th is our drop dead date so far. Maybe it'll change. We can hope, Yeah. It's got over 20 scales, says Mayor Space. I would hope so. Yeah. I'm not sure how many scales a gar has, but if we're trying to estimate the number of scales on a semi-anoded fish, a gar, which is another kind of, we used to call them holostean fish. I think that term has fallen out of favor. But anyway, gar related. If you're trying to estimate how many scales these guys would have, without looking at a fossil, which is your best bet, I guess look at a gar for a clue. But some of these are so well preserved that you can just count the scales on either side.
Hey Danny,
Yeah.
I think we want you to... We can leave the generator.
Oh, sure, yeah. Yeah, if you want to go up here. Yeah. So we've got a best of box here.
Well, these are just weird concretions that we found.
Oh.
Look at them.
Weird.
Yeah, Andrew suspects that they're the things hanging from trees.
Uh-huh.
He also said Blair Witch Project.
Blair Witch Project. Yeah.
But yeah, they're just very odd.
It does look almost branch-like. I can see that being part of a tree. That was my first thought, is sort of a branch or something.
Yeah, plant-like.
Interesting.
But yeah, we don't know what they are, so we're gonna prep them quick and...
Uh-huh. Very cool. Weird. Show me.
Yeah, for sure.
So again, some of the stuff we don't know what it is. And if we don't know what it is, it's a new species, which is exciting, you know? Shoot. Maybe like a horsetail, says Halle Berry. Could be. It could be related to that. The segments that like Equisetum has. It's possible. I don't know. Yeah, so many mysteries, says Repairman Jack. You bet. Yeah. And that's why we're here, you know? That's what makes it worth it to be out here. That's why we're doing this. Yeah, let me get some more water. Drier here than where I'm from, and so I got to make sure, especially on my first day. And it would be wise for me to put on some chapstick too when I can get around to it. Come on now, get it hooked in there. For anybody who's just joining us, because I see we've got 340 plus people watching right now. If it's your first time here, if it's not your first time here, welcome back to Paleontologizing. My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist. Literally in the middle of St. George, Utah. Houses back there. Major artery roadway right there. Dinosaur Discovery Site museum there. Smith's grocery store just behind. There's a Taco Bell right there. That might be dinner tonight. We'll see. Middle school right there. In the middle of St. George, Utah, at the emergency fossil site here. We're trying to excavate as many important fossils as we can before this area gets bulldozed. The city of St. George has decided that they're going to build an electrical substation here on this incredibly important fossil site. And we've got until the end of the month to excavate whatever we can, dig up as many new species as we can before this all gets bulldozed. So I'm here trying to, help out with the excavation and also draw attention to this, get people excited, get people to donate, get people to volunteer. And we've had several volunteers here who found out about this through these live streams, and that's incredibly humbling to me, I'm flattered. So I'm trying to do whatever I can to help out here, which includes not dying of dehydration. Let me drink some water. Yeah. Zool says, thank you, Danny. Same to you, Zool. Holy cow. Appreciate you. I keep forgetting what day of the week it is. It's been, it's been a busy set of weeks for me. Shoot. But I just got in here a few hours ago. An hour ago? 2 hours ago? Yeah, gonna be here through... I might be taking off Saturday around midday, something like that. So I'll be here for a good few days. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yeah, solid 4 days. And we'll be finding new stuff in here. We'll be training new data, logging everything. That's what Andrew and Hunter are doing down there right now, is logging today's specimens into the books. And yeah, in a few minutes I'll go down there and I'll see if we can get an updated specimen number count, so we can get some idea of how many fossils have been found here since we left a few weeks ago. I'm guessing it's going to be a lot. Yeah. Hackstock says, I wish I still lived in Utah. I'd bring my son down to help. A lot of folks have been doing that, which has been awesome. Yeah, and if you don't have the wherewithal to volunteer, we've got a wish list. There's donation links. There's other ways that you can help out if you feel inclined. You know, every little bit helps. We would not have been able to do this without the support of not just people from the local community, but people online too. Something like $10,000 that we've raised so far, and I know that a significant chunk of that, comes from you good folks. So thank you for that. Again, that's why this is all possible. Governor Frodo says, I heard Bernie Sanders is there. I haven't seen him. Yeah, it'd be cool to have his help. Yeah. Anyhow, yeah, Bernie, if you're watching, you're welcome to drop by. I'll show you some cool stuff. I've got some dinosaur teeth and things I can show you. Yeah. He's in Folsom. Oh, okay. Nice, Gigantor. That's a little far away. We're in St. George, Utah right now. Coachella is pretty far from St. George, says Paleo Ken. There you go. Coachella isn't in Folsom. That's in the Coachella Valley, right? I don't know. Anywho. Yeah, by Indio. Yeah. Anywho, yeah, it's funny. I've been here. I don't know how many days I've spent here so far, like in the previous visit, but I still haven't like walked over that ridge to see what's on the other side. I should go do that. Given that we're staying on site, I think I'll have a chance to, and that'll be cool to explore a little bit. I've been told that there are roadrunners and Gila monsters around here. And Andrew said there have been a bunch of scorpions that have shown up. So we might have some interesting encounters with wildlife over the next week as well. And I'll take pictures if I manage to see anything while I'm not. But we did get to see that bird here earlier. What I suspect was probably a red-tailed hawk. I think this area is a little bit too open, not forested enough for like a red-shouldered hawk. So it was almost certainly a red tail, but that was pretty cool. I wonder if anybody clipped that. Yeah. Watch out for rattlesnakes, says Hackstock. I don't know if there are any rattlers around, but I don't know. I've got a pretty good relationship with snakes in general. They've never given me any trouble. So, yeah, I'm not worried. Yeah, this is so unbelievably cool, says Legit Salvage. Thanks. Yeah. Again, we're doing whatever salvaging we can. Let's go take a look around the quarry a little bit. Again, apologies if the signal cuts out. I think that's just part of moving around with the satellite dish. It doesn't like that always. Doesn't want to stay connected at all times. they managed to salvage a lot. Crimson Carnotaurus. We'll go see. Let me go ask Andrew in a few minutes what the current specimen count is up to, because it's gonna. I remember when we were here last time, it was what, like 220 or something like that? And again, I'm amazed at how clean the surface is. They've really got this down pat. This is awesome. Like we always say, a clean quarry is a happy quarry. Having allows us to see much more easily what's going on. We had some other volunteers here a few weeks ago, some of the Texas crew, who was very enthusiastic, and they couldn't, some of them couldn't resist the temptation to just dig straight down, just digging rat holes, as we call them. That's not the way you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to clear surfaces off, so, you know, keep things as close to level as you can, and just work down like that, kind of like an archaeologist does, you know? We do that too, but not quite as clean and precise. We're not digging any 1 meter squares here. We have neither the time nor the inclination. But yeah. Luckily they didn't overlap with Don. There you go, Ken, yeah. Don would not have been happy. All right, let's go ahead and ask Andrew what the, or maybe we'll ask Hunter what the current. Hey. Yeah, how's it going?
Pretty good, how are you?
Yeah, doing well. Yeah. Good. Oh, wrapping up some of the weird things.
Yeah, did you see these weird things?
I did, yeah.
Not sure what that is. Weird little cross shape.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It's kind of cool.
It couldn't be like a section of horsetail or something, could it?
It's definitely got a little bit of bone in it.
Oh, okay, interesting.
On that corner there where it's exposed. So it's some kind of little bony thing.
Oh, vertebrate, weird. Yeah. Do you know what our current specimen count is for? Yeah. Let's see. I think we were at like 220 or something last time I was here.
So let's see. I did do 190 from the lower beds.
190 from the lower beds, okay.
And then from the upper beds, 487.
Holy.
And then we're like around 40 or so float specimens.
Yeah,
40 float specimens?
Oh yeah, big block.
Not bad, yeah.
Plus,
and so that's and that's not counting most of the like individual scales, right? So like
scales and things like that in bags.
Not getting numbered. So counting those, it would be easily in the thousands, right? Yeah. So gives you some idea for how prolific the site has been so far. Yeah. You're getting a lot of congratulations in the chat for all the hard work. So,
thanks.
Yeah.
Lots of things to go through every night.
Yeah, for sure.
We kind of sit here and have a little inventory party after everyone leaves every day. And
right.
Finish up at like 7.
Shoot, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Thanks, Hunter.
Yeah.
Is this yours or did it roll down the double?
No, it's not. I don't know whose that is. Yeah. Thank you, though. Oop. Yeah. And extort. Yeah, this is indeed that shoreline of the ancient Lake Whitmore. That's the thing, is I don't have a good sense for how it corresponds to how fossiliferous it is, but this is just the very perimeter of the lake right here. We think. Oh, we know, because in some cases we can actually see in this lovely illustration. You've got finger. We've got footprints by land, and then they go toward the lake, and then they turn into clearly underwater. And so we know that this is the shore of that ancient lake. Lots of different critters were hanging out here. Not just the critters living in the water, like your various bony fishes and stuff, and chondrichthyan fishes, but land-living vertebrates, dinosaurs, walking around through here too, leaving their footprints and leaving their teeth and on occasion their bones too. So it might be that this is particularly fossiliferous through here just because this is the shore of the lake. Things are nice and shallow, you can get footprints preserved, all that good stuff. Yeah. And was it salt or freshwater? This was freshwater here, Hackstock. I guess it is kind of, we're not 100% sure if there was any saltwater influence. It could be that at times the lake level would rise to the point where it actually meets up with the sea, but in a lot of the reconstructions that you see of it, it's like very much freshwater. So, yeah, here we go. I'll show you that image again with Lake Whitmore. To do all this stuff with one hand while I'm holding the camera. But there you go. Yeah, Lake Whitmore. So here it's shown as very much an inland lake, but there's a chance that at times this also met with the sea. And there were a bunch of critters in here like ancient sharks and coelacanths and lungfish. But the thing about sharks and coelacanths and lungfish is that there are, at least for the sharks and the coelacanths, there are marine, both marine and freshwater examples of all those critters during the Mesozoic. So freshwater sharks and freshwater stingrays and things like that, they were really common during the Mesozoic. They're more rare nowadays, especially freshwater sharks, but there are still a few species here and there. Yeah. Anywho. Yeah. I thought most of that area used to be the ocean, like Lake Bonneville. So I don't know if, I think Lake Bonneville was also freshwater. Here's the thing you gotta know is that, here, visual aid again. Earth history is long, and things are constantly changing all the time. Here, let me know if you've seen this figure before, chat, because it's a pretty widespread one. This is a really simplified geological timescale by Ray Troll. So we are, whoops. Let me set this down, make things a little bit easier on me. I can point right here at the boundary, about 200 million years ago right there. And Earth's continents are still kind of breaking apart. Pangea is starting to disassemble, you could say. And so this area was all inland at the time, as far as we know. At different times in Earth history, the continents are moving around, they're doing different things, sea level is rising and falling. It's at numerous times during the Mesozoic, during the age of dinosaurs, that you get inland seas in North America. There's the Western Interior Seaway during the late Cretaceous, like we were many times, but also during the, what is it, the Middle Jurassic, I think? You have the Sundance Sea in the middle of North America. So you had ichthyosaurs and plesiosaurs swimming around at that time, ammonites all over the place, in what's now present-day Wyoming. So it's at various times in Earth history that you get these inland seas in North America, and in other parts of the world too. Oh, there goes the generator powering down. Oh, nice and quiet. Yeah. So anyway, I guess the point is, Earth history is very long and there's a lot of things going on, and yeah, I don't know how many times North America has been inundated by seawater. in various parts during the Phanerozoic, during the age of life, you know. But it's got to be more than a few. Yeah. Yeah. And what's with the slashes, everybody? Your new favorite thing? What do you mean, Lenina? Oh, you made a theropod track. I like that. Nice. Well, we'll go take another quick look around the quarry real quick. And, yeah, it's looking good, Dustin. Nice and clean.
Thanks. I've been watching my diet.
All right. I don't know if these are data spikes or if these are just for the shade tarps. But yeah. Yeah, looking good through here. There's so much more surface area than I remember. There's been so much work going on here. Just a lot of labor from volunteers. You know, hats off to them. It's been real lifesavers. Yeah. Jim Kirkland come and gone, I suppose. Yeah, Alexander. No. No. It's interesting to think just this blue layer right here that's yielding all of these fish. How far does this extend in that direction? You know, there's thousands of meters. I don't know. There could be decades worth of field work to be done here. You know, just who knows how many fossils are underneath this. I'm glad we've got the next 2 weeks to continue work. We had longer, you know. I wish we had longer. Yeah. I saw that photo in my grade school book. Oh, the Ray Troll one? The geological column here. Fiction of how deep you would need to dig for dated fossils? Absolutely not. No. No. So normally we're near to the surface. That's how we yeah, but here. Maybe I'll clamber to the top of there. And we can talk about this. Because if you were to take a drill core, take a big core sample, and you would find older rocks underneath. And that is a way to find fossils, I suppose. Or find cross-sections of fossils. Find tube-shaped samples of dinosaur bones, at least. And that has happened. What country is it? Is it Sweden or Norway? I forget. But the only dinosaur fossils that are known from that country are from, I think, from their territorial waters. Up in the North Sea, there was an oil drilling operation, coring operation. You know, they sent down a big coring apparatus and just took this core sample going straight down into the rock under the seafloor and then pulled it up, and there's, you know, a cross-section of dinosaur bone in there. I think from something kind of like Plateosaurus. So yeah, it's not a practical way to find dinosaur fossils, but it's been done. It is a practical way to find things like foraminifera, radiolaria, these tiny microscopic ocean organisms, things that evolve really quickly, and we've got a very good record of them, big sample sizes, and so if you look at those core samples, you can date the rocks based on those fossils, because we know when they were alive. You can match that up to samples from around the world, and you can tell how old a particular core is by doing that. It's pretty neat, you know? It's like reading the pages of a book, in a way. You know, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, it's not like, oh, well, if you want to find fossils from the Permian period, you've got to dig down a certain depth. In different parts of the world, Permian rocks might be at the surface, half a mile deep. They might not be in certain, because in that one particular basin, maybe there wasn't deposition there during the Permian period. You know, there might be a big unconformity there. Yeah, geology is, it's complicated, and it's very local, you know? Did that answer your question? I hope it did. Yeah. And Gian Marley, how are you doing? Welcome to Paleontologizing. Thank you for the raid. Yeah. Good stuff. Well, and raiders, to literally the middle of St. We're at a really important fossil site here, an emergency fossil dig operation. In between a housing development and a middle school and a Taco Bell and a main road right there. These rocks are about 200 million years old, and they record an ancient lake bed from a lake, big lake, about the size of Lake Erie or something like that, where there were armored fishes swimming around, there were dinosaurs going into the lake after them, there were all kinds of plants and lungfish and coelacanths and all kinds of invertebrates leaving bits of their bodies, you know, bones, teeth, scales, and footprints and other traces here too. Really, really important stuff. We're trying to excavate whatever we can before the end of the month, when this site is slated to be destroyed. We're on city property here, and the city has decided that they want to build an electrical substation here, which means that all of this is just going to get bulldozed, and these fossils could be lost forever. So we're trying to collect whatever we can. In the meantime, I'm trying to raise awareness about this, trying to get people to pay attention and volunteer if they can, or donate, or just help spread the word, you know? Much of what we've been able to do here has been because of support from good folks like you. So, you know, we're trying to keep up the momentum and trying to do what we can, you know? Yeah. Anywho, yeah. Yeah, let's go check in with Boss Man over here. Taking some photos? It's impressive how different everything looks than when I was here just a few weeks ago, you know?
It's crazy, eh?
Yeah.
And it looks so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for everybody just joining us, this is Dinosaur Discovery Site Museum, Andrew R.C. Milner.
How you doing?
And, yeah.
So, it's been quite the project. Looks like we have 2.5 weeks left, according to the city.
Uh-huh.
There's rumors that might not happen, so fingers crossed.
Okay.
But we are now looking to, so Jeff is actually starting right now to take some images to see if the photogrammetry will work.
Oh, okay.
So
this
he's
is
doing
like
some tests right
perfect time for this too, when the light is nice and diffuse with all the cloud cover.
So we're thinking tomorrow morning we'll go for it and take hundreds of photos of the whole site.
Nice.
So then we can make a, use the 3D model in
Yeah.
any publications.
Uh-huh.
And probably there'll be paper, just like what we found.
Sure. Just kind of like a summary, like, here's this project, yeah.
And kind of point out what the whole deal was.
Yeah.
It would be important to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you should actually speak to Jeff.
Yeah, I should, yeah.
Does your audience know Jeff Martz?
I don't know, yeah. I don't feel like I know Jeff
Yeah.
well enough, yeah. Which I'm a little embarrassed about.
Works a lot in the Chinley Dockham group.
Nice,
So,
yeah, we haven't really had a conversation yet, but is he staying? He's staying here too, right?
Yeah, he's camping out with us tonight.
Nice, yeah. Paleontologist party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you noticed, I started getting my nest ready down.
Big stuff, right?
Oh yeah, I go all out. Yeah.
Nice, yeah.
I'm our camper.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think that's a tendency a lot of us just
Yeah, may as well.
big canvas tents and everything, you know, it's not like your backpacking gear. It's not lightweight stuff. We want stuff that'll last the whole summer and won't get destroyed by a windstorm.
And I brought all my kitchen stuff just in case
Oh,
we
nice.
decide not to just go across the street
The
and
Taco
eat at the
Bell?
restaurant.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
it's not like we don't have food here.
Yeah.
Plus we can go wash up in the museum. And
Yeah. Oh, and I had tent stakes delivered to the museum today. I'm hoping we can get those.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I couldn't find my tent stakes, so I just
All right.
kind of in a panic ordered some new ones.
I do have more if you need them.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Yeah.
So where are you thinking of putting your tent?
I don't know. I'll figure that out later. Yeah.
I think Jeff is just going to lay down on the outcrop and
Yeah.
sleep there.
That's true, like Zen paleontological experience, just becoming one with the outcrop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, back in this time of year when we used to work in Lisbon Valley, Jeff would just put his cot right by the campfire and just keep the fire going all night.
Nice. Yeah.
Just stay outside all night.
That's like, before I ever met Jim Kirkland, I had heard stories from people about the Jim Kirkland tent. I'm like, what's the Jim Kirkland tent? I said, oh yeah, back in the day, Jim, Jim's always the life of the party and everything, but when he decided that he's had enough for the evening, he'd say, all right, good night everybody, and he'd get a blue tarp, and he'd lie down on the ground, just roll himself up like a burrito. And that was the Jim Kirkland tent. And I remember first time I did field work with Jim, I asked him about that, and he's like, oh yeah, and he had this long explanation about how if you tuck in the corners just right, then the scorpion.
Very nice.
The real thing, the legends were true. Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of pointy plants around here. That's the only issue. In the morning, of course, this construction equipment's coming in, so I don't know.
Want to make sure we don't get run over by a backhoe or something.
That hill right there, just behind it, might be a good spot. It depends on the size of your tent.
And mine's a 10 by 10. So yeah.
Oh, you've got a big monster one too.
Yeah, I've got a spring bar. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Top of the dirt pile.
I could. I don't know. The king of the castle.
Then again, when equipment starts in the morning,
Uh-huh.
and we're talking about changing where they're digging, I know they've got lots of dirt over there that they really, really want to haul away, which is fine, but I'd like to try and get them moving this chunk of pile.
Okay, so this would not
so
be a
we
good
can
place to
kinda
put a tent,
keep
is
an
it?
eye on it.
Okay, yeah.
Whether the substation's happening or not,
Yeah.
I think it would be good to have a nice clear view from the museum of the quarry.
Yeah.
So
That would be
clearing
very
this corner out might be a good idea. So all of them and stuff.
Uh-huh.
I do want to keep this little road in, but
Yeah.
I think our tents and stuff are going to get pretty dusty.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I work out in Doling's Bowl during the summer, so I'm used to dust for sure.
Right.
Yeah, maybe I can find a flat spot.
Yeah, you can see they put the markers where they're going to drill for so they're actually coring just big drills.
Oh, really?
To drop
Oh,
in
for
the so those are going to be the 2 telephone poles, the 2 power poles.
Gotcha. Oh, okay.
And they're going to fasten to that power pole over there.
Uh-huh.
And then of course the main part of the substation is like right here.
Right.
It's actually a small substation,
Uh-huh.
but
They can't just build it on pylons like you do on the beach.
yeah, and then we could
So we
just
could go
work under
underneath.
them.
Yeah.
It's a little terrifying, all that electricity. I think my son would love it, because he builds substations in Florida.
Oh, really?
So
Everybody's hair standing on end when they go
yeah,
underneath.
he wears those suits, so you get
Oh,
you
really?
get electrocuted with major electricity actually going through you.
Wow.
Yeah, he wears that kind of stuff. He's very crazy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
When you said coring, I was hoping they meant for...
Actually, we do have somebody. Actually, Randy Ermis brought it up last. Curie, who is met Curie.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
She's got this core thing, or somebody that has one.
Uh-huh.
And we're talking about maybe doing some cores, like 10-foot cores. We can do them all through here.
That would be really cool.
That would be really useful, especially these upper beds that we're digging right now.
Uh-huh.
So we can kind of see how it changes from here to there. Because as I mentioned to you before, there is a substantial change, especially in where bones are occurring in the upper upper bone bed and also the thickness of the upper bone bed.
Uh-huh. Do you think that we had a question about this earlier in the chat. Do you think that the number of fossils correlates to the depth of the water? Like, are you going to have more fossils near? I know we'll have more tracks, presumably, but...
Probably a lot more fossils in deeper water.
Huh,
I would
okay.
think.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's not like it's a bar in a river channel.
Right, yeah.
Lots of carcasses washing in and getting trapped.
Uh-huh.
A little bit different. So stuff that's on the beach tends to get beaten up a lot more.
Yeah.
And I think we're seeing that in this upper bone layer. And of course, we do see mud cracks in there too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's getting exposed to the air as well.
Yeah.
And a lot of bones beaten up. Like you can see, it's been tumbled around.
Right, yeah.
So bigger bones are getting smashed into little bones. But every now and then we find a beautiful, like these dinosaur verts that we found.
Yeah.
Did you tell them about the potential 10-inch long bone that we got?
No, I don't think so. I don't know if I know about that yet. Yeah.
So we took a big jacket out yesterday. It was found on Sunday, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, that's news to me, yeah.
Yeah, and there was a couple of really beautiful dinosaur tooth found right next to it that we posted on Facebook.
Uh-huh. Yeah, you did send me some pictures of a really nice tooth, yeah.
So the block pulled out about that big.
Uh-huh.
And there was a piece of bone coming out of each side. And you could see it going in. And it looked to make a bit of a turn. On the top of there's another piece of bone. Whether or not those actually connect is another question. So anyway, they just took fingers crossed it's something bigger.
Yeah, and if it's curving like that...
Yeah, I don't know.
Could be a humerus or something? Just wild guess.
Who knows? It looks strange in cross-section.
Uh-huh. Huh.
One piece to me looks almost like part of an osteoderm, and then you look at the other piece, maybe it's a piece of pelvis. I don't know. Not sure what it is.
Weird, yeah.
Don't know yet. We won't know until it's prepped, like Jim said.
Right, yeah.
I sent in pictures, showed circles where the bones are.
Yeah.
Can't tell you anything till
That's how it goes,
right.
Yeah. Yeah, can't get too excited.
Yeah,
counting your chickens before they're incubated, so to speak.
Exactly.
We had another question too. I wonder if the chatter is still here. You've done a lot of work in the Burgess Shale.
Yes. 5 years.
5 years, yeah.
5 seasons.
Uh-huh.
So 3 months.
So about Cambrian stuff, the Cambrian explosion, is it still thought to be a really abrupt thing, or are they leaning more toward that's like sample bias and might have been a lot more gradual than that? These different like phyla coming into existence and stuff.
I don't even think about that stuff anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Too busy with stuff here, yeah.
Maybe, but I did see a paper on the site in Sweden, I think it was, that had, they're referring to it as a Lagerstein in the early Cambrian, and it's all stuff with hard shells. I can't remember what the critters are, but yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, there appears to be like something that goes on towards the end of the middle Cambrian with soft body. At least there's more sites, I guess.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I don't really have the answer to that question.
Yeah,
it's a good one.
I didn't either, yeah.
Yeah. Of course, there's a place called Ruin Wash, which is not too far from here. An hour and a half away, which is near the town of Pioche, Nevada.
Okay.
And there's a site there where it's right at the terminal Cambrian, and there's all these Olenella trilobites of all different species. Amazing fossils.
Nice.
And they're finding soft-bodied remains there too.
Cool.
There's been sponges collected, anomaly carrot claws.
Oh, nice.
Lots of carapaces, including Tezoia, which is well known in the middle and the upper Cambrian.
Okay.
It's got this reticulate pattern on the carapaces. Actually, some of the specimens we collected in the Burgess that are not yet published actually have anomaly carrot-like claws on the inside. So it turns out Tezoia is potentially one of, in relation, which is kind of cool, right?
Weird, yeah. That's nuts.
Because when it's reconstruction, they stuck anomaly carrot's claws to Tezoia. If you look at the painting.
Oh, I need to look into that. That's pretty neat. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And of course, the jellyfish with the Patoia, which are the mouth.
Right. Yeah.
Anomaly carrots. So, yeah.
And anomaly, those appendages on the front, right? Are those the arms or the? Yeah. Because it means strange shrimp, doesn't it?
shrimp.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I thought that was the tail, but it's actually
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. A weird
There's
critter.
all different kinds of them being found, just different morphologies of claws.
Yeah.
And there's quite a variety out there.
Huh.
Yeah.
We had a question too from our resident crocodilian or crocodilomorph enthusiast. Any more croc bits from the past few weeks since I left?
Sadly, no.
No, none. Well, shoot. We're gonna have to make that happen while I'm here.
We do have some smaller teeth. Oops. We do have some smaller teeth.
Uneven ground, yeah.
That are.
We can move if you want.
No, this is okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they might be, but
Uh-huh.
we won't know until they're cleaned. They're kind of cross sections.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we won't really know until they're completely prepared,
Yeah.
unfortunately. I'm hoping we get more.
Be really cool.
You
Like
never
the
know.
beginning of the. Oh, and Ken, one of my crewmates from the field, Ken says, ask him about Eurypterids, lol. Andrew loves Eurypterids. Ken knows that, yeah.
I love Eurypterids. There's got to be Eurypterids in Utah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want to find one.
We won't find him here,
That's
obviously,
on my
but
bucket list of things to do before I pass on.
find a
Find
Eurypterid in
Eurypterid
Utah.
in Utah.
Yeah.
Add it to the list. Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. I mean, there's good Cambrian stuff, and not Cambrian. Sorry, it's Silurian, right?
There's some.
Yeah.
And then also good Devonian.
Good Devonian. Okay.
Yeah. And then, of course, the Manning Canyon Shale up near Lehigh would be another
Uh-huh.
potential place to find Eurypterids,
Yeah. Yeah.
even scorpions.
Huh.
You know, they go all the way.
Land scorpions. Yeah.
Silurian, Middle Silurian.
Right.
There's rocks called the Aramosa Formation near the Bruce Peninsula in southern Ontario.
Uh-huh.
And the Aramosa Formation is a Middle Silurian soft-bodied site.
Right.
And they've collected 2 different species of they're unique horseshoe crabs.
Nice.
Phylocarats and things like that. It's a super cool site.
Very cool.
I got to look at a lot of the material when I was kind of helping out with the ROM,
Mhm.
the Royal Ontario Museum. So,
Yeah.
pretty neat stuff.
That reminds me of another question too, like marine versus terrestrial. Somebody asked a question earlier about Glacial Lake Bonneville and like the Western Interior Seaway, and I was trying to get the idea across that, like at many times during Earth history, North America was inundated by seawater. Off the top of your head, how many times has Utah been under ocean?
Oof.
It's got to be like a solid half dozen, right?
Oh man.
Western Interior Seaway, probably Cannonball Sea.
Who knows during the Precambrian?
Yeah.
Is that Cambrian?
Sundance Sea during the Mesozoic.
Ordovician, all marine, so probably continuous ocean.
Yeah.
A little bit into the Silurian. There's not a lot of good fossiliferous Silurian rocks known in Utah.
Huh.
Devonian, yes. Yeah, Carboniferous.
Oh.
Oh, Permian.
Permian?
Yes.
We're just naming all the different geological time periods, yeah.
And then late Triassic, early Jurassic lakes.
Uh-huh.
So, of course, this is a big lake.
Yeah.
Often the question is asked, is this related to Lake Bonneville?
Uh-huh.
We'd have to tell people, no, this is like way before.
Yep, that was the question that I got, yeah.
And then you got the Sundance Sea,
Uh-huh.
which came
During
down
the
here.
Jurassic,
We have middle Cambrian stuff here. We actually find in the Carmel Formation, we've been finding teeth of marine reptiles too.
Nice.
So there's a chance to fill that gap in the marine reptile record
Uh-huh.
in North America, which
Right.
would be really important.
Yeah.
So that's on our bucket list of things to prospect.
Is that here in the St. George Valley, or?
Yeah, south side of the Pine Valley Mountains is
Oh, wow.
miles and miles of outcrop.
Uh-huh. There's just
There's
nobody's
all
ever
these,
really
There's
looked at.
all these beds of marl. That
Uh-huh.
You find shells and stuff. There's got to be something in
Yeah, yeah.
there. Yeah, it's got to be.
So you heard it here, the stuff is here.
Fishes,
Yeah.
the inland seas. And then the Claren Formation used to be the Wasatch. And of course that was a great big freshwater lake as
Uh-huh.
well in the Paleocene and the
Yeah.
early Eocene. And
Yeah.
then of course then you get the big Green River Lake systems.
Uh-huh.
But those were further north from here.
I guess the lesson is, if you're looking for beachfront property in Utah, just wait a few tens of millions a year.
Yeah, for sure.
If the past is any any indication.
Oh,
Yeah.
here comes Jeff.
Yeah. How's it going, Jeff? Is it okay if I get you on camera?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we've got only 372 people watching right now.
Okay.
But yeah, do you mind introducing yourself real quick?
Yeah, so I'm Jeff Martz. I'm the curator of paleontology at the Museum of Texas Tech University.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
And I mostly specialize in Triassic vertebrates, so I study the Chinle Formation fauna and the
Nice.
Ockham group in Texas and New Mexico. And heard Andrew needed a little bit of extra help on this site and was in a time crunch, so I came up for a week to kind of help him do a
Awesome.
little digging. So
Very cool. Yeah. So the Chinle Formation is Triassic, and we've got a lot of it here in Utah and in surrounding states too. Is petrified forest? That's all Chinle, right?
yep, pretty much all Chinle.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
got, it doesn't even have a little moan copy in the park. It's all
Okay.
Chinle, pretty much all Chinle Formation.
Yeah.
A little bit of Betahochi Formation, which is I think Miocene, sitting on top with lacustrine beds and basalts and things like that. But yeah, it's mostly Chinle.
Nice.
And actually between Petrified Forest which is in northeastern Arizona and here, if you drive basically through the Navajo Nation and cut up through here, you're pretty much in Triassic outcrop all the way up.
Nice.
And the exposures on the Navajo reservation are really beautiful, especially all along like Ward Terrace and coming up Tuba City and into southwestern Utah. Just beautiful exposures all the way up.
Nice.
So yeah, it's a really nice drive.
Yeah.
It's nice to get back to the southwest because Lubbock is home, but it's very flat.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of rocks.
Not like this. Yeah. I was driving over today through what's that? The Virgin River Canyon.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Just yeah. If any of you ever get the chance to make that drive,
Yeah.
take it. It's breathtaking. Yeah. Yeah. So with the Chinle Formation, and then this is all Moenavi, right? Mm-hmm. What kind of changes are we seeing in between these? Because I know there's a mass extinction event.
Yeah, a lot.
Big turnover, yeah.
So the short answer to that is that the Chinle is the Triassic is its own extremely bizarre, unique thing, whereas the Jurassic is much more modernized.
Sure, yeah.
Because the Triassic kind of uniquely for periods sits between two
bookended,
of the
yeah.
big N5 mass extinctions.
Yeah.
So you get a huge adaptive radiation because it follows the biggest mass extinction in the history of life. So the Triassic radiation is a gigantic evolutionary radiation, and then you cut off a lot of that diversity at the end. So in between, you get this sort of uniquely weird fauna in which you get a mixture of survivors of the Permian. You get a lot of new groups like turtles and mammals and modern things.
Yeah.
And dinosaurs, and then you get all these uniquely weird Triassic things, and then at the end, those get cut off. And when we get to the early Jurassic, we're looking at something considerably more modern in character, especially with the smaller animals. A lot of those very strange little Triassic reptiles have gone extinct.
Things like Trypanosaurs.
Trypanosaurs and
yeah.
all the weird megafauna like Rawasuchids and Aidosaurs and all
Yeah,
those very
yeah.
strange crocodile-line archosaurs of that entire lineage, which really kind of dominated the late Triassic. We're down to basically crocodilomorphs.
Right.
And then you get dinosaurs taking over. But yeah, the small animal fauna is a lot more modern in character. A lot of very weird little reptiles. And actually, that's one of the kind of the exciting new frontiers in Chinle research right now is people are doing a lot of work with the microvertebrate fauna and finding that that's just as strange as the big animals. So there's a lot of very exciting new discoveries taking place right now with the little critters.
Very cool. Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun.
How big are, in terms of diversity and size, I guess, are sphenodontians during the Triassic?
Pretty diverse.
Yeah. So these are things like Tuatara.
The sphenodontians were known for, and again, we've always known they're around in the Chinle and Ockham.
Yeah.
But again, like a lot of work that's being done on the Chinle Formation, especially like Ben Kligman and Adam Pritchard, they've been doing a lot of really cool new work with microverts, and they're finding an incredible diversity of sphenodontians, like all these new species,
Right.
That are sort of tying the sphenodontian faunas to like better known taxa from Europe and other parts of the world.
Nice.
So yeah, they're extremely diverse. No lizards yet, at least not from North America. There's some lizard. I think there's some lizard relatives known from Eurasia.
In the Triassic. Oh wow.
Well, at least, they're always controversial.
Right.
It's
Okay.
always lizard question mark maybe. But yeah, we definitely have sphenodontians. No snakes, of course.
Yeah. Still the Cretaceous. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Now, the Dockham Formation, is that where what was Chatterjee's purported bird?
Yeah. So the post quarry.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's an incredibly diverse site just south of Post, which incidentally was founded by the guy that founded Post Cereal.
Oh, really?
Also founded the town.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Founded the town of Post. It's a pretty interesting story. But the Post Quarry is just south of that, and Post Asuchus, which was the biggest carnivorous animal in North America at the time, comes from the Post Quarry.
It's all fitting together now. Yeah.
Incidentally, Post Asuchus, the material for that animal, known from the Placerius Quarry, which is in northern Arizona.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
an incredibly important late Triassic site.
We got a bunch of that stuff in Berkeley.
Rob Long, when he was working on the material, he was originally going to give that stuff a name. He was going to call it Lithrodynastes Rapax, which is a fantastic name.
So hardcore sounding,
But Chatterjee happened to publish the name Post Asuchus, Kirkpatrick guy before him, and named in honor of the Kirkpatrick family. That's one of the important things to keep in mind about working in Texas, is it's very important to maintain good relations with the local landowners.
Because there's not a lot of public land in Texas,
there's
right?
some state land and Big Bend National Park. Other than that, it's private property. So it's really important to get in good with the.
That makes sense.
Local
the things you got to consider as a paleontologist working in different areas. Yep. Yeah. Well, cool.
So to get back to your question, Protoavis, very interesting animal. Certainly the brain case, and some. There's a lot of questions as to what exactly it is, of course.
Yeah.
Just recently,
or different things that it might like. It's probably a chimera, right?
There are probably parts of a couple different animals at least. There's at least one beautiful little coelophysoid. Actually, Sterling Nesbitt has told me it's the smallest one known from the Triassic.
Oh, wow.
Neotheropod femur known from the Triassic.
Shoot.
Possible Trypanosaur stuff. And then the brain case is really the interesting one, because that's the one that a few people, including Larry Whitmer, have said looks very bird-like.
Yeah.
And I recently just took a trip to Virginia Tech and took a big load of stuff from our collection to be CAT scanned. And, among the material I took was the Protoavis brain case. So now Sterling has the CT scans of that, and we're going to be taking a look at that and seeing what we can figure out about it.
Could it be Trypanosaur, you think?
He says it's definitely not. We do have...
Really? Okay, wow.
So the really good Italian Trypanosaur material is kind of crushed, so it's a little hard to get a three-dimensional picture of it. There is a 3D scan of a Trypanosaur that was described, I think, from Ghost Ranch a few years ago. So we know what Trypanosaur brain cases look like.
Right, okay.
Sterling says that's not a Trypanosaur.
Interesting.
Not sure what it is, but it's some sort of interesting little animal.
That's exciting. Yeah.
But another really weird Triassic critter.
Yeah. So. Awesome. Thanks, Jeff. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we just got a big raid, by the way.
Oh, yeah?
A raid is it's a good thing on Twitch when somebody ends their stream and they dump all their viewers into your channel.
Oh, nice.
So thank you, Stats Bloke, for that raid. Welcome to St. George, Utah. We're at an emergency fossil excavation here across the street from the St. George Dinosaur Discovery Site Museum. And here's the quarry right here. We're excavating whatever we can before the bulldozers roll in a few weeks. That's what we've been told is going to happen. So it's all hands on deck, and we're staying extra late tonight, logging specimens, and I'm probably going to work until sundown, because we've just got a couple weeks left to try and collect as many fossils and collect as much data as we can. So anyway, and let's see, trying to keep up with the questions here. Our resident crocodilomorph person says, "Love me those Rawasuchians." Oh yeah. Maybe about Postasuchus and stuff. Do we have any plant fossil folks out here? I don't know if we do at the moment, but we did when I was here a few weeks ago.
I just was discussing with Andrew the kind of tragic shortage of Triassic to Jurassic plant specialists right now.
Yeah.
We had, Sid Ash, of course, was sort of the big plant megafossil guy. With literally like 50 years of work.
He wrote the book on common Mesozoic fossil. In the car, yeah.
Very, very few other people have worked on plant megafossils of that age from the Triassic. Just a handful of researchers.
And when you say megafossils, you mean non-pollen, right?
Non-pollen and wood and things like that.
Yeah.
And then, he passed away a few years ago, and that's a void that's never really been filled. So looking for paleobotanists.
And this particular quarry is going to be really important for that. Like the Triassic-Jurassic boundary, I remember Jim Kirkland saying oh yeah, people say that the plants are identical in the Chinle and then in the Moenavi, and that's probably not true, right?
Yeah, there are some interesting crossovers. Like there are some, as we get a more and more bigger picture of diversity, we often find that there's taxa known in one or the other that crosses over. It's hard to say. Like pollen studies actually, in many ways, give you a broader picture of diversity.
Sure,
And there have been a few of those done for the Chinle recently, especially with European researchers have done paleontology on the Chinle and Dockham group, and have given sort of a much bigger picture of the number of types of things that are around at the time, much bigger than a picture than you get from the plant flora.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. But there are a few species that cross the Jurassic boundary, including.
But it's not like everybody makes it across. Like it is a turnover event.
There are some
bunch
changes.
Of them
I'd say there's taxa that definitely disappear and new ones that appear.
Yeah.
And certainly forms that are rare in the Triassic that become more common.
Gotcha.
A lot of that is likely climate driven. So like when you look at the Paleontoflora turnovers, there's of course a big period of aridification for the Norian-Rhaetian early Jurassic, and you see that reflected pretty clearly. Conifers become way more common because they're much more drought-resistant plants.
Gotcha.
Like ferns and other types of plants that like wet conditions become rarer and rarer.
Right, yeah, okay.
Yeah, a lot of interesting things happening.
And again, it's really important to understand that transition from Triassic to Jurassic, because that's one of the big mass extinction events. I put together these visual aids so I wouldn't have to just tell people. I could try and show them to a certain extent, but I don't know, just cobbled together from different places on the internet. But that sounds awful high. 80% species die off at the end Triassic.
Yeah,
is that?
It's.
I wonder if that's if that's plants and animals.
Yeah,
or if
I'm not sure. Of course, the estimates always vary depending on what you're counting. Again, with these new pictures of diversity during the Triassic, it'll be interesting to see how those numbers change. It might actually end up being higher.
Right.
But as with all things in paleo, you always got to consider collecting biases in that. Because if people are doing that work for the Triassic, but they're not doing it for the Jurassic, they might go, oh wow, look at all these species in the Triassic and they all die. But who really knows?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Endeavor and
always changing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know, I try and make this point too when I'm like talking to a wide audience. Like if sometimes people ask me like, what good is paleontology? Why exert all this effort? But if we as human beings want to understand the history of life on Earth, and if we want to help maybe avoid our own extinction someday, it helps to,
We are getting a detailed picture of how climactic changes, which are happening a lot in the Triassic and Jurassic, how that impacts life on Earth. Things like changing carbon dioxide concentrations are being studied, the impact of that on plants, the impacts of that on animals, and how all those things are interconnected, which can get pretty complex. And so that is a very slowly building picture. But if we want to understand what could happen to our environment if certain things change, then it's kind of important to study what's happened in the past.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you for helping make that point.
Absolutely. Always happy to paleontology is relevant.
Yeah, I don't know, because how often do you get that question from people?
All the time.
Yeah.
I hear it all the time.
Yeah.
But and it is, of course, paleontology is just fascinating in its own right.
Of course, yeah. I mean, that's why I do it. It's probably why you do.
And if you care about athletics and the arts, you could ask the exact same questions for those. But that's part of living in a modern culture, is that you have to have these things and have to have funding sources for them. Otherwise, we're not a civilization or a culture. We're just people waiting to die. So,
that's a good point. Well said. Yeah.
Yes, I like living in a civilization. I like living in a taxpayer-funded civilization. It's a good feeling.
Makes for life worth living. Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks, Jeff. I appreciate it. Yeah.
You're welcome.
I'll probably wrap this up in a little bit. Walk around more. See what else we can see. Yeah. Ken says, I like Jeff. I do too. Good guy. I'm glad he's staying here. It's gonna be nice to get. And Patrick Crusader. Yeah, so 200 million years ago is just at like the Triassic-Jurassic boundary. So, in fact, they peg it at 200 exactly right here on this chart. Right there in the center, Triassic-Jurassic. Yeah, I don't know if we have like a solid date on that yet. I know for some of those boundaries between different time periods, we don't have like a golden spike yet for some of these. For some of them we do. I don't know off the top of my head if we have that for the Triassic-Jurassic boundary, but it's important. Again, to hammer the point home even further, you know, during the history of life on Earth, you get new species evolving, and then you get species going extinct. And sometimes you get these catastrophes where, like, tons and tons and tons of species go extinct. You get these, what Kevin Padian calls biotic crises, where it's a crisis of biodiversity, just like everything's dying all of a sudden. It's really important to understand those. So this is just a really, really simple representation of that right here, where you get these spikes in the extinction rate. So extinction rate, families per million years, that's 20, 10, 5. And so the bigger the spike, the more species are dying in a short period of time. So we call these mass extinction events. Here it says a mass extinction is defined by the loss of at least 75% of species within a short period of time. Figures for this, I've heard 50%, 40%. I don't think there is like a super official definition for mass extinction. This is still something that we're working on. But anyway, being able to understand these spikes and extinction rates is really important. On a changing planet, if we want to stick around as human beings, we got to understand this stuff, you know? That's why this is important. That's why paleontology, it's one of the many reasons why paleontology is relevant, but for purely selfish reasons, if you want to avoid extinction for your own species, it pays to know what causes these extinction events, you know? And that's part of what we're trying to do here at this really important time from this spike right there, the end Triassic. This is just after that, as Earth is kind of recovering, as new species are evolving. It's important stuff, you know? I feel like I'm kind of blindly groping for a metaphor here. You know, as things progress, as things change, as the city decides that they want to build a power, I don't know, being able to understand and adapt to change, that's what paleontology allows us to do. It's not always easy work. Have the support that we need, but I don't know. It's wonderful to see all of these passionate people get together and help out at a site like this, to see communities contribute whatever they can. It's frustrating thinking that this site is going to be destroyed, but in the meantime, we've been lucky to have a lot of good people help us out here. That's a positive thing, and I want to remember that, you know? A lot of those good people are watching this broadcast right now. Thank you for all of your support during all of this. Yeah. Inspiring, says Casey Snowart. I agree. Yeah. Yeah. Anywho. With that said, I am tired, chat. I've had a long day. And I'm looking forward to lying down on my cot tonight and going to sleep. That's not going to happen yet, but I want to be able to help out and sit down for a minute and then rally and then set up my tent. So we're going to wrap this up here. Let's see. Live on Twitch right now, whom we might raid into. And because we will raid into, hopefully, somebody doing some science on Twitch. Let's see who we've got. Let's... Doesn't look like Science Streams is on yet. Let's go read into Uwo's lab. Why don't we? Yeah. Hackstock420 says, thanks for answering my questions. You bet. Thanks for asking them. I sent $100. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much, Hackstock. I really appreciate that. And to everybody who's contributed, I want you to know how much that means to all of us here. It does make a difference. It really does. If you're concerned about the state of science, not just in the US, but around the world right now, and you want to do something about it, this is a way to do that. To get a big bang for your buck, you know? You'd be directly contributing to scientific progress in an immediate, tangible way. So thank you, Hackstock. Yeah, let's go to chat here. My channel. And Twitch app is not working. That is frustrating. Claire, would you mind rating us over to Uwo's lab? UWOSLAB. This might be kind of a clumsy way of signing off, but yeah, just do that now. I'll go to our starting soon screen and then you can rate us in, Claire. But thank you, everybody. I appreciate all of you. I'll be streaming again tomorrow. Hopefully I'll have some more fossils. Well, we'll definitely have some more fossils to show off. And I'll be a little bit less out of it, too, having not traveled all day. Looking forward to tomorrow's stream, and I hope you are as well. Anyway, everybody, take care, and hope to see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.